Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video, we're going to show you how to change out the Frigidaire washer or electronic control board. It's going to be a very easy repair and it'll only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new electronic control board. The electronic control board is located in the console of the washer, and it's where you input all the selections. The main reason to be changing it out is if it's failed or you're getting an error code saying that it needs to be changed. In order to get to the part, we have to take the top of the washer off. We're going to go around back and use our Phillips screwdriver to take the screws out. Once you have the screws out, we can lift the top off. First, we have to pull it back about a half an inch or so the front lip comes out from underneath the control panel. Once you have it released, you can lift it off and set it aside. Now that we have the top off, we can take the detergent drawer out. All you have to do is pull it out till it stops, and then on the back left corner there's a little release tab you have to press down on, and you can pull it out the rest of the way. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. We're going to use our Phillips screwdriver to take the screws out. There's 3 screws. There's 2 long ones that hold the dispenser to the console, and then a shorter one that holds the console to the washer. Now that we have the 3 screws out on the front of the console, we can remove the 2 on the back. There's 1 on each side. We're going to use the Phillips screwdriver to take them out. Now that we have all the screws out, we can release the locking tabs. There's 3 of them. They go across the back of the console. All you have to do is lift up on them to release them, and then carefully pull it on the frame as you release them so they don't snap back in. Once you have all 3 of them released, there's a couple pins on the front on this side that you just have to kind of wiggle and get it to come off. Once you have the console released, you can carefully swing it down so we can take all the wires off. We have to remove all the wires from the electronic control board. We're going to start on this end. This particular one just pulls off. There's no locking tab, but all the other ones have some sort of locking tab that you have to press or release with a small screwdriver. Once you have all the wires disconnected, we can take this wire harness. We're not going to disconnect it, but we're just going to take it out of the little wire holder. Once you have it out of the way, you can just swing it out on the side of the control board. Now that we have all the wire harnesses disconnected, we can use our Phillips screwdriver to remove the screws that hold in the electronic control board. Once you have all the screws out, we can separate the electronic control board from the console. All you have to do is lift it up carefully and get this wiring harness out of the way. That stays with the console. And then you can set the console up on the washer. Once you have the console out of the way, we're going to remove these 2 wire harness holders. So we're going to have to split the electronic control in half. We're just going to separate the 2 halves of the casing. There's a couple locking tabs on the top and the bottom. We're just going to use a small flathead screwdriver to pop them off. Once you have this half off, you can set it aside. And then we're going to use a needle nose pliers to release these tabs to get the wiring harnesses off. Once you have the wire harnesses taken off, we can grab the control board and just put this back together. Once you have the electronic control board put back together, we can pull it off the washer. Here's the old electronic control board next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. The new one doesn't come with the shaft or the little plastic pieces, so we have to switch them over to the new one. We're going to use a small flathead screwdriver to help take these off. You want to be very careful so you don't break anything. When you put the shaft into the new one, there's a little tab right here that has to line up with that notch when you push it in. Now we can do the little indicator pieces. Now we can transfer over the indicator screen. There's this black cover on it, so we're just going to pop it off with a screwdriver. We can set that aside. Then we have to take this block out and swap it over. Once you have the number block in, we can put the cover over it. All you have to do is snap it on. Once you have everything transferred over, we can put the new electronic control board into the washer. To put the new electronic control board into the washer, we're going to hook up the wire harnesses to the case first. All you have to do is line them up with the hole and snap them in. Once you have those in place, we can grab the console and put it underneath and line it up so we can put all the screws in. Want to make sure you get this wiring harness out from underneath there if it went in there. And then you want to make sure that the electronic control board shaft goes down into the knob shaft. Once you have it in place, we can use the Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in. Now we can reconnect the wires. We're going to start at this end and just put this underneath the wire harness clip. And then we can reconnect all the other wires. As you reconnect these, they're each have little cutouts that go into the plugs, so you really can't put them in the wrong ones. If it doesn't push in, then you're going to have to put it in the one next to it. When you push these in, you want to make sure they go all the way in so you get a good connection. Once you have everything reconnected, we can rotate the console up so we can put all the screws in. As you line it up, you want to make sure that these two little pins right here go into these holes in the front panel. Once you have it snapped in, we can put all the screws in. Now that we have all the screws in, we can put the detergent drawer back in. To put the drawer in, all you have to do is line it up on the rails and push it all the way back in. Once you have it in, we can put the top on. To put the washer top back on, you want to set it back about an inch or so from the console and then set it down. Then you can push it forward so the front end locks into the console. Once you have it in place, we can use the Phillips screwdriver to put the screws in to hold it in. Now that you have the washing machine put back together, you can plug it back in and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.